Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here to talk about Joker. Not the Joker, not Mr. J, not the Joker versus Batman, just Joker. Now, before we begin, I'm not going to talk about the retarded controversy that everyone else talks about because I am just going to ignore it. And so I'm just going to treat this like any other movie because that's exactly what this movie is. It's no different from any other movie. It's not even as violent as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's. I mean, I don't know what. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not even going to talk about it. Okay? Uh, so, yeah, I didn't have any problem getting into this movie, thankfully, and so I like this movie. I I have mixed feelings about it though. I'm still processing it. It's one of those. It's actually the only movie this whole year that kind of has left me speechless. Like I really don't know what to say about it because there's some there's a lot of stuff that I love in this movie, and then there's a lot of stuff that really doesn't work for me, and it makes me kind of question what I really feel about the movie. For instance, I'm not going to get into spoilers yet. I'll do another spoiler review. But there's one or couple of storylines that are like completely taken out of Taxi Driver, and I was mistaken. I thought that Martin Scorsese executive produced this movie or something. Like I thought this was his idea because this it takes a lot of inspiration from Martin Scorsese's movies, King of Comedy, Taxi Driver. There's a little bit of Goodfellas in there if you really look, and so yeah, uh, I I I like this movie. I don't know what else to say. I like this movie. That there's some issues that I have. I think that Joaquin Phoenix is a great Arthur Fleck, but I didn't see him enough as Joker, and he didn't really do enough Joker things as Joker. He did a lot of Joker things as Arthur Fleck, and I'm not gonna say any spoilers, but another thing that really pisses me off about this movie, in fact, it really sours my view of this movie, is the trailers. I love the third trailer for this movie, but looking back at the trailers, I really wish I wouldn't have watched them because they spoiled the crap out of this movie. They took all these great shots, all these great moments, and they just spoiled them for you. And so there was a lot of stuff in this movie where I would watch it and I would be like, yeah, I know where this is going. I saw it in the trailer. Yeah, I know where this is going. I saw it in the trailer. Yeah, I know where this is going. I saw it in the trailer. And that really bugged me. And so I think that really took me out of like enjoying the movie and being fully engaged in this story because I am a writer slash filmmaker, as you know, and so my brain kind of works in the sense that when I watch a movie, I'm kind of going through the story. I'm like saying, yeah, this is where it's gonna go. This is where it's gonna go. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's gonna go there, and so I can kind of see the inside of the movie. I can see the blueprint like being drawn out, and so it really soured the movie to see all those trailers and to be spoiled that much. I wished that I hadn't have even watched the trailers because I guarantee I would have had an extremely positive view of this movie if I had not seen the trailers. That being said, I was really shocked at how great this movie is. In fact, I want to watch it again. And that's another thing too. There hasn't really been a movie like that this year so far that I've wanted to watch fully again. Like with Rambo, I'd like to watch the last 20 minutes again. And then with Dark Phoenix, I don't really want to watch that movie again, even though I really, really liked it, despite its flaws. With It Chapter 2, I never want to watch that movie again, ever. With Avengers Endgame, never want to watch that movie again, ever. And so, I'm trying to figure out like my real thoughts on this movie because I really want to watch this movie again and again and again, and it's such an interesting experience too because there is a crescendo that happens in the third act. And now here's where we get into the flaws. This movie is based a lot on King of Comedy. In fact, I don't want to seem like a jerk here, or like a show off or anything. When I first saw King of Comedy in 2017, the first thing that I said, the first thing that I thought was that this would have been the perfect story to make the Joker have. Like this character who really wants to be a stand-up comedian, that's like in the comics, and you have the thing where he has this mentor and he's really poor and there's this tragedy with his family and he's had this horrible experience with bullying and he just can't let go of it, and he really likes this artificial superficial power and this image of himself. And I thought, wow, that would be the perfect Joker origin story. And somehow they took that and they kinda made it work, kinda not. Because let's look at King of Comedy. This movie is not King of Comedy, okay? And I am surprised by that because I thought it would be more like it. It's actually more like Taxi Driver and King of Comedy kind of mixed together, and then its own thing. It's a lot of its own thing, and so I give it props for that. But with King of Comedy, you start off and you have these three or four characters, and gradually throughout the movie, things escalate. They get worse and worse and worse, more cringy and more disturbing, if you might say that, and things just they continue, and it starts off that way and it just gradually gets worse and worse, and there's no stopping this uncomfortable feeling that you have when you watch the movie. Very, very uncomfortable, like you shouldn't be in the room seeing what's going on in the movie. In this movie, 3/4 of it I'll say 2/3 of it is not like that. There's no crescendo. It's just kind of a compilation of a lot of ideas and a lot of sequences, and then the last third is a crescendo. And so the last third is the strongest part of the movie. It is the part of the movie that feels perfect and feels like it deserved a better first 2/3. Because the last third is probably it's one of the greatest comic book sequences in history. It has such a spooky gothic feel, and the music for this movie. Wow, the music. I can't say enough about the music. You thought Dark Phoenix's music was fantastic. You thought Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's music was fantastic. Wait until you get a load of this music. Perfect music all around. There wasn't one piece of music, and there are certain songs that would come on, and it would just send chills down my spine listening to this music with the scenes in the movie, and then the ending to this movie was really cool, and I love the ending. And I'd like to get to another flaw though, because with that great ending comes another flaw, unfortunately. And again, I like this movie, so whenever I'm criticizing something about this movie, I'm doing it with the utmost respect, and I'm doing it because I really like the movie and I want it to be better because they deserve it. They really put all that they could into this movie. The one thing that bugs me is that to think that this will be a one-off movie. And I know I'm one of those people. I like more and more and more and more. Whenever there's a TV show that only has like 5 episodes, I'm like, that's really lazy. You should have done more than that. That's why you put a show on television, because you can do more than a couple of hours. You can do these long form seasons. And so with this movie, that's the number one thing I was not looking forward to, was the fact that I was going to really enjoy this movie. And then that would just be it. Like, I wouldn't ever see any continuation of this character or any other characters. And oh my god, would I love to see a sequel to this movie? Perhaps like a trilogy or something, like the Godfather trilogy. You do the Joker trilogy. Do that, please, because it will work and people will go see it. You see with this movie, all that stupid controversy, this movie broke records. And I'm happy to be a part of that, honestly, because we need more movies like this. This is a real movie. I feel so thankful to have seen this movie in theaters and to witness a true piece of art, unfiltered, unadulterated, and unbothered by the stupid feminism and SJWs plaguing Hollywood with their agenda crap and their stupidity and all their little issues that they want to insert into these movies. And to talk about the issues in this movie, they are real issues that never get talked about, never get brought up anywhere. They're not hammered in your face. They're just a part of this organic, natural story. They're not like just these things, these little weeds sticking up out of the ground, like poking at your legs, and you have to cut them down. You just want to get rid of them because they're irritating. They are naturally there. That sounds kind of weird, because weeds are naturally there too. But what I'm saying is that this movie feels very natural. It doesn't feel like it's really trying. It feels like it's just doing, and it succeeds with what it's trying to do, or what it's doing. I'm getting so confusing, and so I'm gonna stop with that crap. So, Zazie Beetz, let's talk about her. She's a great actress, and I love seeing her in this movie, and I'd love to see her in more movies where she isn't replacing white characters and where she's playing these original characters or characters who are black like her. And she did a great job in this movie, and she even did a great job in Deadpool too. And she is really gorgeous, and probably the most gorgeous woman on screen the whole year too. And that's saying something when you're watching this Joker movie. I mean, she really stands out too. You're watching this really grimy taxi driver kind of inspired movie, and then you have her, and it's like seeing the little the flower or whatever it was, the vegetable plant at the end of Wall-E in that huge wasteland. That's what it was like, honestly. And then there are some comic book moments, like really, really comic booky sort of tie-in moments. And I enjoyed those. There was one moment that kind of felt forced to me at the end, but I enjoyed it because it felt a part of that experience of the last act. And so it didn't bother me as much as it would have if it was just a random scene in the movie. Like if they'd shown that out of that sequence, but it works inside the sequence. So, yeah. And I'm not going to rank the Jokers and include Joaquin Phoenix because we did not really get to see that much Joker in this movie. We saw some Joker, quite a bit of Joker. I'm not gonna spoil it, so I'm not gonna like give any clues, but it's just not enough for me to say anything about his Joker. So here's my ranking of the Jokers at the moment. I think that my least favorite Joker is that shitty Jared Leto, that pretentious prick, and his stupid performance as the Joker, his awful costume with his meth teeth and his stupid tattoos and his stupid hair and his stupid vampire eyes. Looks like Kevin McAllister who's on drugs. Just horrible, horrible. When I saw that first picture, I said, F this, I'm not going to see this movie in theaters. I'm not going to even think about it until it comes out on the internet because it was that bad. It's just horrible, horrible. I never even want to think about him again. And then after that, I would say Cesar Romero. I like his Joker. He's kind of cartoony, and I like other cartoony characters in that '60s Batman universe more, such as I love the Penguin. He's probably my favorite in that universe. And even though he's cartoony, I really love him in that universe. And then Catwoman, wow. Talk about gorgeous once again. And then after that, we have Jack Nicholson. Or no, after that, actually, we have Mark Hamill because even though he's really iconic to a lot of people, I kind of like him. I kind of prefer other Jokers. Personally, I prefer Jack Nicholson to him because I think that Jack Nicholson, although he is very goofy and funny on the surface, he has this very dark underbelly to him. And that really came through to me, and I don't understand why more people don't pick him as their favorite Joker because he really did a great job. And I actually liked the fact that he killed Bruce Wayne's parents. I liked all of his lines, like the pen is mightier than the sword, and then yeah, that thing, and then just so many great moments with him. And then of course next we have Heath Ledger, and that's gotta be my favorite. Even though I'm not a fan of like taking these comic book characters and making them hyper realistic. That's kind of like a fad to me. It's like something that a show off does because he's like bored with doing comic book movies, and so I wasn't I wasn't thinking that he would be a good Joker, but then I saw the movie and he did a perfect job as Joker. I wish that he had more screen time and that Batman wasn't even in the movie, honestly, because the Joker was the best part of the movie. It was his movie. It should have been called The Joker Destroys Gotham or something, because Batman was just kind of like that cool, silent guy in the background. He wasn't a strong lead in that movie. Christian Bale even admits it, and so Heath Ledger's my favorite. But honestly, if I saw more Joaquin Phoenix, he might be my favorite because what he did in this movie, he put us all into the role. He took the role seriously. He wasn't sitting around making quips. His costume wasn't fully CGI like with these crappy Marvel movies. He had real problems, not Marvel problems. He had great villains. There are great real people villains in this movie. Now I want to I'm gonna rate it. I rate this movie Now, remember as a kid when you would go to like a fancy restaurant and your parents would always order something and you're like, "Ooh, what's that? Would that be any good?" Like you guys keep getting that all the time. That might be really good. And then you get it and you eat it and you like it, but you don't love it as much as everyone else does, but you still really like it and you'd like to have it again. That's what I give this movie. It's a very vague rating, but I can't really think of anything specific because the movie is so I don't want to say vague, but it has such a broad message and it has such a broad look at this issue that it doesn't really feel like I could rate it like a lamb chop or something like. Okay, I'll rate it a lamb chop. Yeah, I'm confusing myself with my overcomplicated thinking. I give this movie a big, huge lamb chop with mashed potatoes and gravy, perfect herb crust on the lamb roast, and then you have some snap peas on the side, and that's the meal. Because I remember, and I do remember as a kid, I would always wonder like, what would lamb taste like? Like lamb is kind of a rare thing, and well, like you get it at these fancy restaurants, and so it was a privilege to watch this movie, just like it was a privilege to eat these great lamb meals. One time I ate it at this fancy restaurant. It's probably one of the best meals I've had on a trip ever in Colorado, and that's what this. I really shouldn't have. Now that I think about what that has to do with the Joker in terms of stupid people and their stupid controversies, I probably shouldn't have said the Colorado lamb, but whatever. And that's what I give this movie because I loved that meal and I always remember eating that lamb and having those great mashed potatoes and those peas. That was a great meal to me. And that's what this movie reminds me of. Again, it's not perfect. And when I get into spoilers, I'm going to talk about some of the flaws, but I'll also talk about the stuff that I loved. And maybe I will talk more about the music, as if I didn't talk about that enough already. So please like this video and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, you'd like to hear my spoilers and hear my reasoning on why I didn't like certain things and then why I loved other things. And thank you for watching. If you stuck around to watch the full video, thank you, thank you, thank you. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon for Joker spoilers. And then The Walking Dead Season 10. That's right, I will be reviewing The Boring Dead Season 10. And I will destroy every episode. We lost a subscriber around the time that I uploaded that Walking Dead video. And so just for that one subscriber who was mad that I didn't like Michonne kissing Ezekiel because they're the two black characters that are the leads, just because they didn't like that I didn't like that and that I think the show is boring, I think it's a pile of crap, I'm going to review this season and I'm going to shred it to pieces if it's bad, and then I'm going to love it and eat my hat if it's really good. And so, goodbye everybody!